I got a special one for you guys. I actually got my questionnaires text down and ready to go. Back up some, I can still see myself in the camera. But yeah, I'm gonna let him come in and introduce himself. I think for the power lifters, I think you guys will enjoy this one. This guy definitely has a lot of knowledge, and apparently he has well, not apparently, he does. He has the numbers to back up his knowledge. In my live earlier, depending on the day that you watch it, definitely misspoke. Again, I'm not a power lifter yet, but what was I gonna say? He has a lot of knowledge. I don't know how long this interview is gonna go, but I do know, I guarantee it's gonna be way more than 15 minutes. I just noticed I prefer, let me see, the left side than the right. I can't really speak too much on him. This is like my third actual, well, more than my third, but as far as a sit down and working out with him, this is like my third interaction. So yeah. Anyway, I want you guys to enjoy. And again, for my actual power lifters, if you feel like he's dropping some jewels, take in the knowledge. One thing about me, and I've learned this about us as adults, we get a certain age and we don't take critiques very well. I've noticed, but in the fitness realm, regardless of how you look and who you are, if you give me a legitimately good critique, I'll take it and I'll study it and I will fix myself, not because I care what you have to say. Oh, and here he comes. Camera's already rolling, brother.
Is that your shit?
Which one?
The stuff on
Oh yeah, no, the setup. Wait, what?
the clothes.
No, that's not me at all.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Too close to my
I got you. Let me still need to. Okay, how about this? Come forward a little bit. Oh, we're both in the camera.
Beautiful.
All right. So obviously, I'm pretty sure you know how to hook up a mic and everything.
I don't actually, but it's pretty common sense. There's a clip right here, and
say
it seems
less.
like it's already on.
All right. So
I will charge you for this meeting. I will charge you this mic. That seems fancy, bro.
I just got bullied out of a mic.
Beautiful.
Will you take donuts instead? No,
Absolutely.
anyway, so the camera's already rolling.
Fancy Nancy. The service here is absolute donkey trash.
You right.
We'll
So
be fine.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to talk to you about fitness and powerlifting.
Powerlifting, yep.
So with that being said, what my audience is what they see is what they get. I don't plan. You don't got to look at the camera. We can just have a regular conversation.
Or we can.
Got you. You do you. Whatever works.
Beautiful.
Anyway, so if you don't mind, please introduce yourself.
I am Zebulon Drake. I am 29 years old. I am from Vicksburg, Mississippi, originally. Family's from there. My background would be at age 21. Long story. I'm a long talker. You know this. We've talked a few times. Family from Mississippi. I went to college at a few places. I went to community college first on the coast of Mississippi, in Goshen, Mississippi to be exact. And I went to college there for a year or so or two maybe, when I was 18. And I worked at GNC, which is kind of what exposed me to supplements, right? From a young age, I learned very quickly what protein did, what BCAAs, EAAs did. I learned from a young age what creatine was, all these things at 18. By the time I was 18, I'd already been training for about 2 years. No, 5 years already. I started at 13. By the time I got a job at GNC, I was already training for 5 years. So I was a pretty big 18-year-old. I was about same height, 6'2". I was about 220, 230 pounds at 18. So naturally, my brother is a state trooper, and he was well known in the community, got me the job. So I learned fairly quickly and fairly young. And remember, this is over 10 years ago. Nowadays, we see all young people, they know about supplements and whatnot, and even drugs these days.
A little jealous.
But for me, I learned out of it fairly quickly. We're on the same age. So I learned about that fairly quickly, supplements, protein, creatine, all these things. And I was lucky enough to be under some very, very knowledgeable people in the supplement game as far as GNC was concerned. Did that for a while, and I enjoyed it. Once I got done with the community college, just didn't want to be there anymore. I left the community college, and eventually I went to a university. And I'm a bigger guy at this point. I go to university around 19 or 20 years old. I'm a little bigger. I'm 240, 245 around this time. At 20 years old, relatively big. And for me, college just wasn't for me. It wasn't the goal, wasn't the ambition, wasn't exciting. I'm gonna toss my phone over there because the service here is absolute donkey cheeks and it's not loading. But anyway, so we go into university, Alcorn State University, where Steve McNair, I believe the name is Steve McNair. You recognize the name?
Not at
Football
all.
player. I think it's Steve McNair. Went to college there years ago, decades ago. By the time I went there, so I went there and I realized early on at 21, before I turned 21, I realized college wasn't for me. And I was just spinning my wheels, girls, possible transitions into fraternities. I was like, maybe I want to join a fraternity. And I just realized college was for me. What I realized at a young age was that most young people don't know what they want to do. It's a very hard decision to make when you're 16, 17, 18. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I talked to my dad. My dad said, my brother, as I stated, was a state trooper. My dad was like, law enforcement. Because in my dad's head, it's common sense. You know, just go do law enforcement. It's very easy, very quick. You go to a police academy for 3-6 months, become a cop. So at 21, I became a cop. I became a cop, the youngest to graduate the police academy. Did that for a year and realized I didn't like it. I just wasn't very content in my jobs, mostly because of money. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. Because in my head as a kid, you think once I get a real job, I'm making money. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I left law enforcement, joined the Air Force. And I'm like, man, this is it. This is where I make my money. A year and a half in, I was like, this is not it. No money. I found a way to get out because I cheated the system. Got out with an honorable. Most people don't do it because when you cheat the system, when you get out the military, people don't understand. When you cannot get a honorable discharge if you cheat the system.
So you do know I'm putting this on YouTube.
It's all good, bro. I don't care. All the shit is, you know good and damn well being in the military, all our pay grades, our discharges is public information. So you cannot get out the military when you cheat the system, meaning you get out whether it be from, oh, my back hurts or I can't adapt to military life. When you first get in the first 3 or 4 years, if you don't adapt, if you don't conform, they tell you straight up, hey, man, look, you're not conforming. Do you want to work your way out? And it's a simple conversation. I decided I didn't want to do it. And I came to agreement. I had a very good, I don't know if the Army has first sergeants.
Yeah, they do. We do.
Or shirts.
Yeah, we do.
Shirts, right? So they're like, I don't know, first sergeants. What are first sergeants in the Army? Like
So
cool guys?
no, not really. Not
Well,
at
mine
all.
is.
Not at
Our
all.
first sergeants, they're like the liaison between the lower ranking to the upper ranking. So I told my shirt, I was like, look, man, I don't want to do this. We got out. And eventually when I got out is when I found I've already been lifting heavy. So I always tell people I've been lifting powerfully for 16 years, but I've been powerlifting for 2 years. So by the time I got out of the military, I decided to drive massive trucks cross country. Why? I believe 20% of truck drivers are made up of veterans. The reason being is a very easy transition. You get orders. In my truck, if you're in my truck right now, you would see there's a stack of papers. Those are BOLs, it's called Bill of Lading. You get orders, those are your orders. It tells you where to go, when to be there, what to drop off, what you get paid. It's very easy. You can pay a lot of money to simply say, here, take this here. So, for instance, we're here because I'm headed to a delivery now to Grants, some place in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
So it's a very easy transition for truck drive, for veterans. So I got into this, and around 2 years into driving, I met a guy in California. Met a guy in California that ended up being my my coach, and he just it's like one of those opportunities where you meet a guy and he says, hey man, you're extremely strong, you should compete. And I've heard this all my life. Dude, no. And I was in California for about the better part of a year. He kept seeing me. He said, dude, look, man, maybe you don't get it, maybe you don't know. You'll be very competitive. And I'm like, sure, buddy.
So you were against powerlifting originally?
Oh, I was competing altogether.
Oh, good.
I was competing altogether. When I was at my university, Alcorn State University, the football coach, I've never touched a football in my life. The football coach was like, hey, man, you'll be great at football. brought me in. I'm like, coach, this is not it. This is lame. This is boring. Not realizing that now some of my classmates and my teammates in football are some of the biggest. Well, one of them specifically are one of the biggest social media influencers today. Ashton Hall has somewhat of 1 million followers right now. Ashton Hall, the guy that runs on social media, he was a classmate of mine. He was a teammate of mine. He was a massive YouTuber and Instagrammer now. Massive. I think he just passed 1 million followers,
So
1 million
you know
subscribers.
so you know some people.
I know Ashton. Ashton's a very good guy, and of course he gets the conversation of Natty or not. I don't get into that because I think it's a lame and very, very primitive conversation.
Say less.
As far as Ashton, I can discuss it. I have no problem about me. I can't talk for another man. But anyway, I digress.
I got you.
What I will say is, so competition just wasn't. I'm not a competitive guy naturally. From the standing, from the outside looking in, a person says, "Hey, look inside there. People competing there." I'm like, "Great, don't give a shit." But if I'm in the fucking fight with you, now I'm competitive. From the outside looking in, I don't say I'm better than you. I don't give a shit. But when I step into that environment, it's okay, I'm better than you. Let me show you. So for a it took my coach 2 years to convince me to compete because we were just friends. And he was like, "Hey man, compete, compete, compete." Eventually, at the age of 27, 28, I competed my first competition. And what I did in powerlifting, I don't think will be duplicated. And I don't think it has been done. Keep in mind, I started powerlifting at 27. Most people, by the time they start powerlifting, they're far younger than 27. So I had that advantage. I was older, I was more mature, I was a grown man, I was a big boy stepping into a sport that a lot of people start when they're younger. So that's one benefit. The next benefit is by the time I got into powerlifting, I was already lifting powerfully for over a decade. Keep in mind, I started lifting at 13. I'm 27 years old by the time I get on the platform, and I'm 27, 13, that's 14 plus years of lifting powerfully. So I get on the platform, my coach and I know what's gonna happen. No one knows who Zebulon is. No one knows who Zebulon is. I squat, I think my opening squat was 6-something, 675, something like that, or 6-something. And we squatted, and the weight was so light for me, I couldn't get deep enough in the hole. I have tight hips, and my ankle mobility sucks. All reds, but it flew off my freaking back. It was so fast, it just flew. And people were like, wow. So my second attempt went to 727, something like that. Flew. Got all whites. And we know what all whites are. All whites are good, meaning good depth, good squat.
So
good
even though you
command.
got all reds on the first, that they still let you go up in weight.
Of course. Okay. It's your choice as a lifter, right? Okay. My coach and I laughed about it. We said it's not enough weight. So third attempt was 782. My first ever competition, third attempt was 782. Keep in mind, in 2022, 800 is still a big squat. It's a massive squat. 782 my third attempt. You only get 3 attempts. Did it, flew up. My coach was like, we should have went up. We should have went to 800. And if we went to 800, hindsight, I would have got my 2100 total my first comp. But my first comp did that. Numbers 45, 782 squat, about an 826 deadlift. That put me at about 0.1 pound away from 2100. I totaled a 2099.9 total. My math is not that good. First comp ever. 2099.9 total. You will not find that in powerlifting. It won't happen. It doesn't happen. Why? Well, I have the advantage of training for over a decade, and I was 27 years old. But what happens when you come out of the gate and you become one of the best overnight? Eyes are on you, but like, oh, this might be a fluke. My second competition, 2136. So not that much growth, up 40 pounds.
But you were still on the radar.
I was still on the radar, and people said to themselves, I'm assuming, this is an assumption, they said, you know what, okay, he's good, but he's not that great, right? He's good enough. He's good enough to watch, but clearly from 29.9 to a month, 2-3 months down the line, first conference in March, next conference in July. March, April, May, June, July, 4 months between, I only put on 40 pounds.
People said that about you with over 2,100 pounds.
But you gotta realize, in 4 months, I only put on 40 pounds on my total. Now, is that a lot for over a 2,100 pound total? 100%. The song goes, some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm ADHD, bro. But anyway, so that was a lot of weight put on my total, but people are like, okay, cool. 21 is gonna be his resting heart rate in a sense. This is where he's gonna stay. Third comp, first comp was a local comp. Second comp was nationals, because my first comp qualified me for nationals. Nationals qualified me for World Championship. First comp I won. Second comp I got second overall, but I won my weight class. Third comp, you're doing the World Championship. And it was in Orange Beach, Alabama. And the world championship is people across the world coming to compete for the world title. I go in.
Third world championship, your third
My
comp.
third comp was the world championship. Yes, third comp ever was
May
world
I ask
championship.
another quick question on
Go
that?
ahead.
How long does it take people to get to world champ?
Normally, some people go their entire career not getting to world championship. It just
And
doesn't
you
happen.
got it your third.
But yeah, and I don't. It's not for me. It's not a bragging right because I'm just. Here's the thing. Can I be vulgar for a second?
Go ahead.
Cool. Some men are blessed with really, really, really long, big, giant members. That's not a bragging right to me.
Got you.
A guy bragging on something he didn't put any work into is not a bragging right.
Okay.
A guy bragging about his phallus is not a bragging right because you didn't put no work into that phallus.
Okay.
Me being 6'2", 300 plus pounds, naturally, being able to put that weight on naturally now, is not much of a bragging right because I just happen to have the right mama and daddy.
Okay.
I just happened to chose the right mom and dad. That's all that's all it came down to. So I don't brag about the fact that I was just really fucking good because it just so happens that my mom and dad are clearly specimens. So, and all my siblings, my younger brother is about 6'4", 6'5". My older brother is shorter than me, but big. So it's nothing I brag about. It's like I said, it's like bragging on something you have put nothing into. Now, to get as strong and as big as I've gotten, that's work. You see me work out. I enjoy it. I love it. But for me, it's not a job. It's something what people get upset about me, the reason people get upset with Zebulon, because Zebulon says this. Here's what Zebulon says. Keep in mind, I talk about Zebulon in the third person because who doesn't? What great person doesn't? All the greats talk about them in the third person. The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Zebulon Drake. But here's the thing. So what I tell people is this is a hobby that I'm just really good at.
Okay.
The hobby that I chose, I'm the best, one of the best in the world at. This is not subjective. This is not my opinion. Every year I've competed from 2022 to 2023, and I've only competed 3 years, two years now. So every single year, which is only 2, I've finished top 10 in the world. Top 10 in the world out of millions of people that compete across the world, around the world, millions. So for me, it's like I just am. I'm objectively one of the best in the world. Get mad if you want. So my third comp was the world championship. And everyone knew what was happening at this point. At this point, they sent me to do worlds. National. They sent me to my first comp. People knew he was going to get something high. People knew I was the contender to win. What they didn't know was where my ceiling was. And if you look at my social media, look at my Instagram, my pinned video, one of my pinned videos is the world championship. And my third tip squat was, we got better at everything. We got better at form. I got better at understanding certain equipment I was going to use. I gained a little swag about myself because now I knew I was that guy. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about life, right? You can think you're something. You can think you're great. You can think you're that guy. You can get vulgar again. We can get vulgar again. You can think you know how to lay wood. You can think you know how to give dick. Until a girl is screaming, scrumming, running and gelling and yelling and screaming and cussing and fussing and fighting and squirting,
Facts.
then you know you're great, right? So I thought it was good. I thought it was Big Dick Willie. My assumptions, my belief were proven through my competition. So I'm like, oh, I am that guy. Okay. I just am. So I knew what I was capable of, but no one else did. My coach and I we were ready, we were happy, we were ecstatic. So go to the Worlds and listen, some of the best powerlifters are there. The best powerlifters, the strongest guys. And my third comp from 2100, 29.9, but 2100 first comp, 2136 second comp, 2022-66 third comp. Okay. When 2022-66 happened, at that time, only 13 guys have ever gotten to 2,300 total. My math is not that good, but 2266 is about 34 pounds away from 2,300. Immediately, Zebulon became a threat to titles. Zebulon immediately became a threat to world records. Zebulon immediately became a threat to the monotony of powerlifting. Powerlifting was boring. I'm a very vocal guy. I had excitement because I'm like, dude, your squat, bench, and deadlift sucks donkey dick. My vernacular, my ability to speak just comes from me being a middle child. I need attention. I've always needed attention in life, and I'm not shy to say it. I've been an attention freak since childhood, and now I just talk a lot of shit. And it rubs some people the wrong way. It rubs some girls very much so the right way.
Be single,
Rub
ladies.
some guys the right way too.
Oh my.
Just kidding. But
I see what you did there.
but seriously, so I became a threat. So I'm sorry you didn't ask any questions, but I'll finish this. This is to me giving out my synopsis.
You're good.
Let's continue. I told you it's gonna take a long time. My last comp was last year, 2023. Shit, we're in 2024. So 2023 comes around. People know who the fuck I am. People know
In
what
the
I'm gonna do.
powerlifting world.
Empowering people know who the fuck I am. I travel the country for work, as I said. I go to gyms. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm Zebulon. Nice to meet you. Oh, I know who you are. I'm like, okay, fuck, I don't know what that means. Whatever. And the next comp I do, I prep for. What am I prepping for? I'm prepping for a mass nationals in 2023. I'm going to win nationals, and I tore the squad. I tear the squad a week before competition. Tear the squad, not off the bone, in the muscle. So it's gonna heal on its own, but it's torn in the muscle.
And you still competed.
I still tried to compete. I couldn't squat to depth because this leg was so inflamed. I couldn't put much weight on it. Disqualified out of competition. The only time I've ever totaled under 2,100 in competition was when I was disqualified because of a quad tear. When that happens, when people see you on a roll, people see you're a firecracker. You're a shoe-in for greatness. When you fall, when you falter, when you fail, people say, "Fuck yes." About damn time. Thank God this son of a bitch stopped. And I got message after message, DM after DM, tagging story after tagging story. Zebulon is done. He tore his quad. About damn time. This motherfucker talked too much shit. Somebody had to humble him. Blah, 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 blah. Well, God bless you, buddy, because little do you know, Zebulon is an asshole for a reason. I'm aware of what I do. So around a week later, 2 weeks later after the tear, after nationals, I couldn't compete, and I started getting my movement back in my leg. I was squatting 315, and I was like, hey, I'm back. And it took a while. It took about, I would say, a month to 2 months before I felt good enough to put massive weight on it, meaning my best squat before that was 860, 865, my best squat. I was back at the place my leg was probably 70%. I told my coach, let's shoot for a competition. He's like, the year's almost over. We're in the comp in the nationals in June, and a prep takes anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks. June, July, August, September, October. We're looking at, we're halfway through the year at this point. We're in August at this point. And I'm like, let's do any comp. I don't care what the comp is. So I choose a comp in Miami. I travel for work. I can be anywhere. I do the comp in Miami in October. Side tangent, sort of, not really. In the beginning of 2023, toward the end of 2022 rather, I stated that in 2022 I got my first total, my first 2200 total. I said in 2023 I will get a 2300 total. Then I tore my quad. I didn't foresee a quad tearing in 2023. I state I'm gonna get a 2300 total, and quad was torn in July. Found a comp in November. July, August, September, October, November. We're 3.5, 4 months apart. The way I live my life is this. The Bible, in which I believe in, I just believe the Bible to be a great book to study. I believe it's in Proverbs. It says, blessed are those that swear to their own hurt and change not. And what that simply means is when you make a promise, when you shake a hand, when you give an oath, when you verbally state you're going to do something, you do it. No matter the circumstances, no matter how hurt you are, you swear to your own hurt and change not. So I made that promise in 2023, beginning of 2023, but end of 2022, before I tore my quad. My quad was torn. I am very scared to squat because what if I tear it completely off the bone? Fuck it, Zebulon. You made the promise. Stick to it. Stick to the commitment. So October comes around, November. I do my competition, my redemption competition. Redemption is gained. I gained 2,300 total. It was massive. It wasn't as people already assumed I was going to do very well. So what didn't give me as many views and action as my world competition did. But CT Fletcher shared it, and CT Fletcher is a massive guy in the strength world. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm still that guy. I'm still relevant. I'm still that guy. So now we're in 2024. My next comp is in 30 days.
Say less.
And that's what I'm looking forward to doing now. What I would say is this. I've been a fan of powerlifting forever.
Okay.
The world of powerlifting has gotten better but worse. It's gotten better for optics. It's gotten bigger. More people see it. But as things go on in life, social media plays a positive/negative role in everything. We're bigger, more eyes able to see us. But there is an emotion behind everything you say. Some people can't take the banter. If I say I'm the best in the world, it pisses off the guy that thinks he's the best in the world. If I say I'm better than you, you've seen my lives, I talk about the common sense thing. When you look at me, I'm just gorgeous. I'm really attractive. I say the things that are obvious. I'm 6'2", 300 plus pounds of pure steel and sex appeal. I am very attractive. I think everybody knows this. Any person knows this. So I say these things, it pisses people off. People think I'm arrogant. When you meet me in person, I'm remarkably quiet because this is a persona. I am naturally a very quiet guy until I talk to you. When a person talks to me, the shit talking happens immediately. The first time I met you, I mentioned you got small ass fucking legs. The first time I met another guy, tell him he's fucking round as
And
shit.
you also say what man wears pink, and then I
What
bench
man wears
410.
pink?
Yeah, and I bench 410 that day.
Oh, 410, I bench 550.
Oh.
410 ain't shit. I mean, for me, it's not. It's cute.
I did it in pink anyway.
That's cute. But I think the takeaway here is this, right? I think most people find themselves in situations like, whether it's powerlifting, bodybuilding, or any sport, and they get to the place where the sport, the society, the world that you involve yourself in says, or you immerse yourself in says, conform. Conform to what we say. Not the standards of competing, but conform to what we want the sport to represent. Conform to what we, the elite class, conform to what we want you to say, feel, and be. I think the easiest thing to do and the successful thing to do, you'll end up being successful if you do this, is conform. Become like everyone else because it's safe. Walk the same line as everyone else. They say, oh, we engage in sex orgies around here. You say, okay, cool, awesome, great, I'll do it. Oh, we snort crack here. Okay, I'll do it. We take ecstasy here. Okay, I'll do it. Zebulon says, literally, fuck you, fuck your crack, fuck your orgies. I'm gonna do what I do. I love God, but fuck you and your mama and your bitch. And then I go about and continue to be better than everyone else. That's all I do. But, oh my God, how can you curse and say God in the same sentence? Some people just don't read their Bible because Jesus was not a fair-tongued individual. No person in the Bible that God loved, liked, or cared for was a fair-tongued individual. Meaning they were not like soft, oh, God, you did something bad. No. They were warrior soldiers of God, and their mouths were very distinctly aligned with that concept. But I digress. Long story short, I was going to retire this year when it comes to powerlifting because I didn't want to do it anymore. It got boring. I'm too good at it.
Damn.
But now, since the shit talking has commenced, I'm thinking of giving them a decade of hell, a decade of Zebulon kicking, whooping, spanking your ass.
Who's they?
They, the naysayers, the detractors, the haters. You got to realize a hater's job and a detractor's job and a naysayer's job is to say nay. A hater's job is to hate. A detractor's job is to detract. My job is to give you something to hate. My job is to give you something to say nay to. My job is to give you something to detract from that you can't detract from. You can't take away from what you didn't give. God gave me the ability to do what I've done. You're not going to take it from me. Unless you put a bullet in my head, but this is 2024, baby. You're not about Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, me. It's not about to happen. It's just not about to happen. You can't do that to niggas today. It's not happening. They want to, but they can't. So they got to deal with it. So instead of assassinating a black man today, they're going to assassinate your character. They're going to assassinate your ability to carry a voice. But unfortunately, when people meet me, their eyebrows raise. They say, I heard things about you. I heard you were a jackass, but no, it's very different when I meet you in person. That's the beautiful thing about old school habits. You know, there's more success in shaking a person's hand in person and looking them in their face and having a conversation than it is having a beef via social media. Things change the moment someone sits in your face and has a conversation. I've had many people dislike me when they have a conversation. They leave the conversation like, well, he's not what I thought he was, or his persona in person is very different than what we see online. So, in conclusion, I'll say this: God is good. Keep the main thing in your life the main thing, and I'm continually going to get better. I'm 29. If you look at guys in powerlifting today, they're 29, they look about 57. I'm 29, I look 57. No, I look 20, 23, 24 in the face, but I can't help that I'm massive. But yeah, man, I think powerlifting, and you're getting into it, it's a very dope sport, man. It's positive, it's overwhelmingly positive. But I think social media has really, really taken away from fitness as a whole, bro. I had a female message me. I was in Alabama yesterday. I did my deadlifts, and I did 860 for my single. And this woman messaged me because I post my story as I do, and I always tag location. This girl texted me, said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry if I seem like a creep. I was staring at you. I just never seen anyone do what you do. You're impressed, blah, blah, blah." I'm not a Karen. I said, "Ma'am, there's no such thing as a gym creep. No one in the gym is a creep for staring alone." I said, to stare is natural, especially when a 6'2", 300-pound man walks in doing crazy shit. I said, it's natural, it's humanistic. There is a line that can be crossed, but people have blurred that line. If a man does this and look at a girl, couch, you're a creep. We live in a very dangerous time for men, and it's so sad to me because it's just dangerous. It's a very dangerous time because the court of public opinion accuses you, litigates you, executes you in the same second. The court of law accuses you. There are months or years that go by before litigation takes place, and another months or years that go by before you're ever sentenced to a certain punishment or until you're relinquished of the accusation. The court of public opinion is different. We think you did something, you did it. You're seen as that something. And guys can look at something in a certain direction. A girl can be there doing something, and if a guy is caught in any way looking at your direction, the camera catches them, they are forever known as a creep. I do not like how we are today. There are more people that are simply, who's a singer? I think it's Luke Bryan or something, country singer. He says, "I believe most people are good. I believe most people are good." And unfortunately, because negativity sells like a motherfucker, which is why I'm very, very controversial, because I try to be negative as much as I can because it sells. But negativity sells. It's a reality of
So
life.
you're in character when you're being negative.
When I'm being negative, I'm in character.
Okay.
Meaning Big Z is an asshole. There are a few characters. Big Z is an asshole. Zebulon is just Zebulon. I am a regular human like anyone else. But Big Z is a jackass, intentionally, purposely, and strategically. But I believe most people are good. Most people are good. Most people are not trying to look in a girl's crotch when she's squatting. Most people don't give a shit to do anything more than a second stare at your glute, sweetheart. No one's looking at you that deep. What person in their right mind is gonna see your girl's butt, ass, badonkadonk, just stare at it? Not a human on the face of the planet. That's the weirdest shit in the world. No one wants to be categorized as that. So when that girl messaged me and said, "I don't mean to be a creep," I cut that off. You're not a creep. You're just staring. You're human. It is very hard to see something out of the ordinary, whether it's a fat, juicy booty or a guy lifting some crazy weight. It is very hard to not look. We have lied to ourselves in the fitness industry because we have bodybuilding or powerlifting. We say, well, that's every day. No, you don't see a guy that's jacked shit out of his mind, ripped to the bone, oiled up. You don't see that every day. You're going to look. You don't see a guy in a thong every day. You're going to look, and guess what you're going to look at? His shoulders, his traps, his delts, his glutes, and probably his area. This is a natural humanistic thing. You can deny it. You can give, "I don't do that." Yes, you do, motherfucker. People like to, it's bullshit. When you see a woman that's jacked and crazy, insane, big, jacked, strong, you're gonna look at every single facet of that woman. Her strength, her size, her jackness, and you might probably guess her bootylicious booty. Listen, does that make you a creep? Not necessarily. The only thing that makes you a creep is when you admit that you've done it. People don't care what you do. They care what their perception is of what you do or what you admit to doing. When you look at a person, at a girl or a guy, and you say, "Damn, man," I tell men this all the time. "Bro, you're a massive back. You're jacked, bro. I'm looking at a girl and she has massive quads. I try to look at her quads. Why your quads are massive? Because the moment she turns around, I don't want to look. Why? Because if I look and say, holy moly, what glutes? Oh my God, you're a creep. Sweetheart, I'm just saying what everyone thinks. But when you state it, you're the creep. When you express it, you're the creep. And I think it's unfortunate because this is why me and don't express it. This is why I don't express it. If I see a woman that's jacked out of her mind, I'll compliment her delts. Nice delt, sweetheart. Nice quad, sweetheart. I try my best not to look at anything that would make her feel uncomfortable because number one, who in this life wants to make someone uncomfortable? No one. This is why when we talk as humans, you know what we do? Naturally, we look at the forehead, the nose, or away, or this way, or that way. We do not like making people feel uncomfortable, naturally. So to assume someone is trying to make you feel uncomfortable is very, very disingenuous because you know it's not true. You know no one in this world is trying to make you uncomfortable. And if someone makes you uncomfortable, you tell them. And when you tell them, watch what comes out their mouth immediately. You know what's coming out their mouth? I'm sorry. I apologize. Didn't mean to. No offense. Unfortunately, we believe in the worst of the people before we believe in the best of the people. We believe in the worst of people before we believe in the best of people. We're at a place now where the worst of people sells more. The best of people doesn't sell. Beautiful.
Please permit me 3 questions.
Beautiful. Why not?
Got you. I want to just take it back real quick to your first comp.
It's small, very small, about 3.5 inches.
I believe it.
Oh, my bad. That's not your question. Go ahead. My bad.
Did you get the jitters at all for your first one?
Oh, yes. I get the jitters now for massive lifts.
Even as a pro and everything you've accomplished, you still get
Bro.
that. You still get that feeling in here, or wherever that nervousness, the jitters, the negatives that make you not want to do the comp, if that makes sense.
A 60-year-old man still gets whiskey dick.
Damn.
A 60-year-old man will still get turned on by a nice body. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen it.
Okay.
Heavy weight is heavy weight. It doesn't change.
Okay.
A lot of weight makes my heart jump, run, chase, but that's a good excitement. That is anxiety. That's a good anxiousness. Okay. Very good, very necessary. I think when you lose that excitement, that anxiety, you're dead inside for the lifting. You should probably leave it alone because that's when you'll get complacent. I get very nervous for weights that are heavy. So yeah, I do get nervous.
Second question, and I think you already pretty much answered it, but to the positive aspects and the negative aspects, when you came into the whole powerlifting scene, was it just because your nerves are already still, you were able to manage the positive aspect? What I mean by that, people, what they had to say about you to continue to keep going, was it hard for you to manage, or because your nerves were already so still, it didn't matter?
Powerlifting is overwhelmingly positive.
Okay.
85 to 90% positive. The world is 85%, 90% positive. But what happens in media? Do they promote or tell us the positives and negatives? They tell us the negatives. Even the negatives is a fraction of a percent. They tell us that because that's the loudest thing. Everybody agreeing with you, if there are 1,000 people that agree with you, you're great, you're great, you're great. You hear all that noise. So one person say you suck, you'll hear that louder than anyone else. So overwhelmingly positive is the vibe of powerlifting, but the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20% negative, you'll hear it louder. So I just advise people to control what you focus on. That's your second question.
All
You
right.
said you had 3.
Yeah, I do know. So,
We'll see.
well, I do have a question there if
We'll
you allow
see.
me to do that one.
Go ahead.
But so the third question for this, do you have, out of all the jewels that you just dropped, do you, an inspiring power lifter, or do you have any words of encouragement you want to give them for people who are fresh to powerlifting that haven't stepped on the platform?
Run your race. Run your race, right? The best version of you, this is a very, very tough thing for people to hear. The best version of you may not be one of the best in the world. I just happen to be blessed with the right mama and daddy that the best version of me happens to be one of the best in the world. You have to be comfortable enough with yourself knowing that the best version of you in a certain sport may not be the best in the world at that sport, but the best version of you at any given thing that God has ordained you to be good and the best at, you're the best at. You got to find that thing. As it relates to powerlifting, get into powerlifting for the transformation it's going to automatically have happen in your life. When you get under shit, when you do shit that scares you, when you get under an 800-pound squat and it gives you the jitters, you saying outside of the fear of a tear, a rupture, a torn, broken, whatever, I'm doing this because there's a goal outside of this that I cannot see, I cannot touch. We cannot time travel yet in this world. But we say because there's a goal at the other end of this adversity, the 800-pound squat, the 500-pound bench, whatever it can be, because there's a goal on the other side of this adversity, I'm going to go through it. I'm not going to go under adversity. I'm not going to try to go over adversity. I'm not going to try to go around adversity. I'm going to go through it and grow through it. I think powerlifting as a whole teaches you to grow and go through adversity. So yeah, I think there's a massive positive to it. And I think that's the advice and that's the thing I'll tell anybody. It's not about being the best in the world. And I hear this all the time from every person. Well, I'm not doing what you're doing. Shit annoys the fuck out of me because no one is doing what you're doing. No one's doing what I'm doing. I'm Zebulon. You're retro, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, RJ.
Appreciate
lame ass
you.
shit. And
Hater.
the other 100%. The other person is the other person. So, yeah. So that's kind of my take on it.
Appreciate you. Give me 60 more seconds and I'll cut it.
Beautiful.
It'd be funny if you already
You'll
counted.
probably
60.
have to edit some of that shit I said
Oh
about.
no, I'm posting everything, brother. You can't renege
You
now.
gonna see.
You can't
You gonna
renege
see.
now. It ain't spades
You
anyway.
gonna say, this guy said he looks like girls' asses. Every guy does. I'm sorry. They don't get. I just tell truths, man.
Minute is starting.
Yep.
My question.
Rapid fire. Is that what you're doing?
Roger, I'm gonna try. Okay.
Cool.
Rest day or cheat meal?
Cheat meal.
Conventional deadlift or sumo?
Conventional.
Got you. Energy drink or coffee?
Energy drink.
Cardio or sauna?
Sauna.
Bulgarian split squats or hip thrusts?
Bulgarian split squats.
So you're already a power lifter, but bodybuilding or strongman?
Strongman.
Say less. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Rock and roll or hip hop?
Rock and roll.
I got you. 1 rep max or repetition?
1 rep max.
Fitness model or muscle mommy?
Muscle mommy.
All day, every day. Hey, so I'm gonna end it with that. I'm going to stop this clock. So on some real shit, this is how I like to end it. Thank you. Regardless, you were, and obviously, but you were your true self. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about powerlifting. Regardless of how people may see things, to me, you drop jewels. And I thought I stopped this shit. Anyway, as humble as I can, thank you. And if you ever allow me to interview again.
Damn, the gym's still open. It's 10:10. That's it. Beautiful. Go ahead.
I got you. If you ever allow me to interview again, I'll also be greatly appreciative of that. But all I can say is Big Z, thank you.
Let's get it, brother. We don't shake. We just slap. Oh, Lord.
And we are out.